23. So back to MR.E, our newest game. I'm gonna just check the quality of the stream to see. Okay, we seem to be connected. Good to go. So in the meantime, I have moved the project to Godot 4. It's the latest beta. Of course, it comes with some struggles, and sort them out in this stream and on this, next ones. So I'll have to refactor a bunch of things actually in Godot 4. Visual fidelity is one of them. Lighting is another thing, because I have this GI probe left over from version 3. That probably has to go, because I think they moved everything in here anyway. So this is doing its own global illumination. I don't think there is a probe system anymore. There is, but that's for taking lights. Probe. We're not going to use this. So maybe this later. I don't think we'll have that much reflection project, but we'll see. Okay, so the latest state of the project is, let me run. I've been working on UI. So let's just close this or edit. So I worked on basic movement. It used to be, well, this was last week, but because I did not stream last week, you guys didn't get to see it. So I would click in this tile where the player is, and I would do a drag operation, sort of forward, and the guy would move forward, and the same way to the sides and the back. So since then, I thought I should move that kind of functionality to somewhere more is easy to click or a bit more intuitive, because I'm going to use elements in this scene where tall objects will obscure the player. It's pod. So if our guy is behind the pod here, it's going to be hard to see where he can move, because our initial implementation was showing pulsing arrows, like say you can go this way, there was something pulsing under the player. That's going to be super hard to see behind tall objects. So instead, disable the whole UI, but this one. Instead, I put it here. This may change, of course, but let's move west. This is considered west right now. So there's basic sound effect. Guys moving. The directions are still subject to change. We consider north as, what is it? So basically anything positive in the X is north. Anything positive in the Z is east. Unfortunately, or coincidentally, the way this guy is placed in the scene, this is north, this is east, so that's why when we run the scene, the notion of sort of like going forward to this target, well, if you consider north as going forward, is a little bit skewed. That's a little bit different. It may not matter once you know this is west. Maybe I'll do some kind of color coding or some marker. Maybe there's going to be some red circle on these walls, and it's going to be designated here as the button for the direction to go, and maybe blue south. That button will be here. The player can associate the colors or the shapes, like maybe triangle, a different color, circle, a different color, maybe a square, yellow, that kind of thing. They can actually do that kind of mapping in their minds. Because we are in space, right? So the notion of up, down, or left or right, those things are a little bit blurry. So here we are. So today's agenda basically is keep moving, but more specifically, this is kind of done. We may refine this. I'm going to introduce level objectives. We kind of have basic version of it. Enable that HUD. Or at least the level information. So this is going to tell you what you're supposed to do in this level. I'm going to talk about this in great detail soon. And of course, going with the movement mechanics, we will most likely do some user interface improvements. And this is the most ambitious part. If I could reveal the mission objectives or this level's objectives, and we are able to move the character to the final spot, maybe we'll trigger end of level message, which will also be displayed in this area. That ties into user interface things, whether we update the text or there's a different button, that kind of thing. So these two things will go hand in hand. And then through that exercise, we'll finish level 1, so we can create another level, slightly different layout. Maybe we'll duplicate and change the mission. Hopefully we'll get to play 2-3 levels. So kind of planning to do a stream of maybe 2 or 3 hour long, session today. We'll see how much we can get done. And of course, next week when I stream, in the meantime, I will have done more stuff, so you guys can always catch up. And as far as long-term planning goes, the first week, this is where we are. We are doing the scaffolding, meaning I want to introduce 4 game mechanics during this week. And starting on January 10th, is Tuesday. So 1 week later, like 1 week after that, with the mechanics that I have, I'm gonna keep creating more levels. And basic things like, well, maybe there will be an object to pick up or an object to throw into the distance. That kind of thing, minor things, not that, well, major enough but easy to implement. That's the content creation. Then 17 to 24 will be the polishing of those game mechanics and the different levels. And most likely, the more I work on this project, I will have bugs, so I'll probably fix those. Visual stuff too. Maybe there will be some for graphic fidelity work. And then the last week of January, I will do some Steam and marketing stuff. I'll prepare an executable where I can distribute it, possibly on Steam. So we'll see. Maybe if I stream in 3 weeks, I will show some marketing stuff, how it's done, how I'm doing it. So it's part of game development. It's not exactly writing code, but as people are interested in that kind of stuff too. Okay. In case, just phone. It's been a little bit far off. This might be good. Let's see. As usual, let me know in the comment section if you guys have trouble hearing me. The background music might be too loud, my voice might be too quiet. Let me know. I don't always stream, so okay, so first things first, since I've been working on this project downstairs and the resolution is quite different, because that machine, I think it's one of those Ultra HD, it's 3840 by 1920, some relatively high number. So I did all the adjustments according to that monitor, which looks quite weird here, because this interface here, they've been kind of, you know, neatly tucked in here. This diagonal part would assume this blue thing is here, but on the left side. So right now this looks too big. Or it looks exactly how it's supposed to be. This seems too high to me. But maybe that's actually the size. And how do we do that? Kind of check. In fact, that is the right size. Yes, that is huge. Because downstairs that seemed okay when everything else was scaled. I also want to do this. That didn't work with one of these options. Okay. Then maybe I don't need this anymore. Because this window thing was... this monitor is already that size. However, this piece of picture being 900 and something is already half the screen, so that's just too much. I'm also noticing something else, which I thought I fixed downstairs in the other machine, is the anti-aliasing. So I'm not sure if some of the quality options have been... Yeah, so there are multiple problems here. I ported this project from 3. In 3, these options were laid out differently. If I recall, okay, I remember choosing this, but it was not 3. This was sort of multiples of 2. It's as if this 3 is the third index in the drop down. Now there's no explanation. This is to compensate the blurriness that is introduced in either one of these. I think if they are going to release 4, they should do a better job filling these out, because it's definitely not production ready in that sense. It's like because the Godot 3 version had the explanation here, and I have no idea which one does what now. The one is I don't even remember. I vaguely remember the concept, but I don't remember how to map each concept to these options here. So with everything disabled, I'm just going to enable FX Where the hell did it go? Wait a minute. Sharpen intensity is here. Oh. So when it ported the project, that was considered as a custom property. So most likely, they exist under a different category here. And as soon as I default them, they are taken off this custom list. So that's also kind of brilliant. Okay, so let's just do this and see what it's. So that quality will probably go. Yeah, there is no quality. So those options must be somewhere else. You know what is actually scary right now? That's actually where what I was trying to find. Like I thought, okay, something should be under quality. I might have changed a bunch of other things in under like different categories that made their way here, and I have no idea how to find them anymore. So instead of carrying them, maybe they should have been omitted, so you would be forced to set them right here using the proper options. Because here's the problem. If anyone from the core team is listening to this stream, which I doubt, you guys ported all the properties from Godot 3 to Godot 4. You create them in the project settings. They are here, but I bet they are not tied to the API. They are just a bunch of properties because that functionality is useful if your project is going to require something from project settings where you can use this interface to store. And this is kind of a way for you to share some project settings with the rest of your team members. So you could actually come up with your own groups here. But just because something exists here doesn't necessarily mean it does something. In the custom cases, you introduce them for your own sake because you're going to do something with them. But when Godot 3 stuff is ported to Godot 4 this way, I don't think they are tied to the API. So I bet some of the options that I'm looking will be under example. That's why I was losing that anti-aliasing. And first clue was the explanations, the hints were missing too, because they don't exist in the Godot 4 API. I might have to investigate this some other time. Okay, I suppose. I think this is, yeah, this is something I doubled in the other. And also these ones. So that's that. Okay, so let's find anti-aliasing. It's enabled. This is what I was talking about. Now, I bet if I do this, I'm gonna get some hinting. And this is what I meant, 0, 1, 2, 3. So it was set to this. This is screen space AI, AA, and this was set to this. Okay, assuming this is what I had from before. Yeah, this is good enough. Now, I may have to increase the sharpness to compensate for the blurriness. There's a bit of blurriness here. Which may... Which one is introducing blurriness? This one. The blurriness is partially contracted by automatically using a negative mid-map LOD bias. Rendering textures. Default filters, texturing. This one. I think this was 1.2 in the other one. Let's go. Perhaps. Anyway, good enough. This is refinement, so. So let's move MR.E. And when he gets here, we are gonna say, okay, good, next level. Or before that, some text here. Let's take care of the UI. I think this scene is big enough, meaning the map, maybe it has to be slightly smaller. For that, we'll go to the camera and we'll change size. I believe I'm in orthogonal, so let's do 16. The preview. Yeah. This interface is still huge, but I think the camera being 16 is good because I'm gonna have levels where I'm gonna have to show it larger, maybe twice as large as this. So if possible, I don't want to move the camera forward or sideways. And we could actually have some like level parts here, which is okay, and then some interface elements. So suddenly this interface doesn't look too big, but it's still big enough. So what we can do here is this is going to be interesting because if I do 9, what was that, 9 slice scale? Let's see if I can scale this. What is it here? Yeah, I merged this in the so the panel. So if this panel is gonna stretch and do something like, where's the margin? So as soon as I change this, I believe it's going to show me the slicing parts. Let's go. This is it. You can also see a preview here. In earlier versions of Godot, I think there was something here. Show the slicing. Yes, it's here now. Just eyeballing it. So the idea here, leave the corners alone. Don't stretch them at all. Stretch the left and the right vertically. Stretch the top and the bottom parts horizontally. Because if these parts repeat, they're not going to look stretched or distorted. And the middle part will be vertically and horizontally stretched. However, when I do this, okay. Yeah, I wasn't too sure whether this line was over. Now I'm sure. So now, This is a bad example to highlight what I'm trying to do. What I described still stands. I do this proportionally by holding the shift. But either way, although the idea still stands, so what I said was still correct, the nature of this graphic is weird because since the corners will never stretch, but where do you define the corner? I kind of want to define, let me undo this. So you almost want this portion to be the corner. Which is too much. We could still do it. It's like this, almost like a third of it, so it's 300 something. Equally from the right. And here we want the corner to be under this. This is weird because when I change this, $325, 50 doesn't make any sense visually, and then it kind of does, but it's still weird. Is this 50? This is 1000, but I see 1000. It's 1280, right? So okay, this may be right. Okay, so I adjusted the parts. I may have to fine-tune it a bit more because there's a bit of stretching here, so I guess I stopped the left-right markers sort of somewhere here. You see these diagonal lines? They are kind of getting stretched. It's as if this is the left cut, this is the right cut, so I should push them in. This is so wrong. When I'm changing the left, the right one is moving. Just as the top and bottom were confused. Okay, but I'm getting what I want. I pushed it from here to here, even though this display is wrong. The idea is good. Now, I have to fine-tune it here too, because this diagonal part is also distorting, which means this is probably 60. Yeah, this preview is horribly wrong, so I have to push it a bit more. Maybe, yeah, this is horribly wrong. I don't actually get a feeling. Kind of moves. I think the best thing I can do is this. Let's open this in something. While that's happening, I think I'm gonna grab myself a bit more tea and I'll be back. Okay, back with some tea. So let's measure this from up. We want it to come down, maybe, yeah, 90 pixels. Maybe my 60 or 70 wasn't enough. And it's also same proportion anyway from the bottom. So from the left, 350 will be enough, which is sort of what we figured out. So this is going to be 90. It's 90. So now this is not going to stretch at all. You see these diagonal sections here and here, not stretching. So I'm going to do getting small, getting large. Now I can use a large piece of graphic to size it kind of any way I want. So I don't have to do it proportionally scaling. Because as I was saying, well, let's describe this. Greetings, Bluepin Studio. Hello, Toronto. Cool, you're from Toronto too. Have we met before? It says if your username rings a bell. Maybe we are part of the same meetup group. I see a lot of names these days, like a lot of, I meet a lot of people, let's say it that way. So sometimes the names get blurry. Or the names and the faces, sort of. So the corners will be left alone. So let's put this here too to demonstrate my point. This one should be here. Yeah, I think so. If I recall, anyway, maybe I shouldn't share your name during live stream, but I think I know you. So how is it going? I'll wait for your answer. Meanwhile, I'm gonna say the corners will be left alone, as I was saying, and the left and the right side will be stretched vertically, and the top and the bottom will be stretched horizontally. That will keep all the shape proportionally scaling up and down. See here, wrong control, maybe this one. We can now do anything we want. All good, Victor, or Victor. Okay. Yep. Thank you. And this story-based, if I recall, it was words, and the character is moving over words to trigger story elements. I like that concept. By the way, feel completely free to paste Steam store page link if you have one, because I think that concept deserves more attention. So this is your chance. I don't get that many viewers, but whoever sees it, one viewer, one more click is worth it. So I'm going to squeeze this guy and then run the game again. This is still too big. Maybe we should also squeeze it from the Y direction anyway. So let's go 360 and here 720. Maybe this is 640. Let's try to reposition this bottom left. Let's run. I think I kind of squeezed it too much, didn't I? There's a... If we did this 350... What did I do? 350. So this cannot be any less than 700. Let's make it 720, which is still close enough. Let's make this 300. bottom left, run. One more click, and I'm gonna click. So it's part of the stream footage. Guys, go check it out. It's a cool concept. I'll just give a brief description. As far as I remember, you are walking over this terrain that is composed of words. That's all I'm going to say. Go find out, explore. It's explore story. So I hope it serves you, man. Cool. So let's see if this is going to be okay size. It's okay size. Can fuss with this later. Right now it doesn't block the level view. This is workable. I'll move these controls here too, because they are kind of a little bit inconveniently placed. All this is gonna change. There are still at least a month or two development time on this project. This is all a big work in progress. So, okay, this is not the scene I'm interested in. This is the scene I'm interested in. So this guy over here, so walk west, be north, fine. I'm just gonna make some graphic pieces, maybe, as I was saying. Maybe this wall should be west, as we know it's westward. But maybe some red triangle, which is indicating west. And we'll use that as icon here. Should I do that during the stream and waste time? The debate, I'm in my mind. Let's look at the program. Revelation and accomplishment of level objectives. Okay, let's work on that. I may change my mind, but here's level 1. It's fine. Let's hide this guy. Assuming the level is playable and we are revealing the level objective, I have this urge to keep going, which means I have to go here. Let's trigger end of level. Right? So here in the path node, I have a goal marker, which is this, which is a scene. The animation here should play. It's not playing. I don't know why, but oh, because I did. Oh, I remember. I tried to animate this in Godot. Then I don't remember what I did. Then I tried to do this in Blender, and then I re-imported the animation, which actually should have its animation, but where is the animation is the question. The goal marker. Goal marker, import settings. Do we get to see animation? Okay, animation imports. There used to be a way to export the animations to file system. We don't have that anymore. extract materials, set animation save paths. Interesting. So this is miscellaneous goal marker. I think I'm gonna create a folder here. And before I move forward, I'm going to tidy up some of these. If I move this here, it's going to crash. It's just peachy. Let's see what went wrong. Models, miscellaneous. It did move the file. So I don't think I need these materials anymore. This is something I might have created. There's a lot of garbage here. Anyway. Set animation save paths goal marker. This is the folder. Good. Select current folder. Set paths. Suppose this is the first time I'm using it. So re-import. Did you do it? It did not do it. Because I was expecting in Godot 3 you would have .anim extension or the animation extension. I don't see them here. Which means maybe, just maybe. Where's the blend file for this is the next question I'm gonna ask. That might be in here. Goal marker. It's coming right up. Too many screens right now. So Blender. Pulse animation. Okay. I'm dissolving. I don't think. Okay, I remember this was kind of pre-Christmas, right? I was doing this. It was last year, a long time ago. I think the confusion that I had last time I had this file open. Okay. I started creating my animation. Then this is that LNA thing, right? Nonlinear animation, yeah. Gotcha. Let's select all this. Okay. Scope sheet. Okay, this is the problem that I had. Maybe one of you can help me. So I animated this stuff, which is apparently working. Okay, but I don't know if this is because it's versions like Blender version something, right? I don't know. What I tried to do later on was to define an action and call it pulse. So this would be carried over to Godot. And I don't think that's carried over. That's why Godot doesn't think there is animation. So here is the weird part. The sheet has keyframes, but this is sort of animation, sort of untitled, right? It sort of exists as part of the Blender file, but it's not part of this pulse action. So I think this is where I was kind of stuck. So I tried to select, which I can, copy. Eventually I should not see anything here, but this doesn't work. So no selected F curves to paste into. And I kind of understand why that is happening. The explanation makes sense, the workflow doesn't make sense. What it's trying to say is this. You don't have a channel here. If only you had channel, you could actually do it like here, right? Because if I select one object, the channel is highlighted. If I select the middle one, that's also highlighted. If I select all, the outer and the middle, they are highlighted. The inner one doesn't have anything, so that's why we don't get to see anything. So this is expected behavior. So essentially what this error is saying, here in action editor, false, basically smarten up, kind of add channels here. This is moving them up and down. Can I copy channels instead of keyframes? Channel. I can delete channels, group channels, ungroup, but I cannot copy channels. This is gonna move up and down. Let me see. Only shows selected. Remove this. Good. Now they stay. Let's go to action editor. Okay. Right click that channel. And we just go and manually add a channel here. We don't. Okay, I guess I'll have to redo this. What did I do in here? Keyframe 1, outer channel. If I recall, I'm editing the mix shader factor. Doesn't seem to be changing though. Still 0. Okay, it's changing. But why are you not changing it here? Okay, let's look at the outer one, which is this 0, 0. Either way, I think it's increasing to 1. That's what we should do. So let's remove all this. Okay, let's go to action. Put this in 1. Should be 0 now. So when I put keyframe here, insert, okay. This is what I expect to see. I'm still not seeing a channel here in Action Editor. That's bizarre. And I bet if I go to dope sheet, I'll see. Why is this not marked in Action Editor? Back to square one. This is what confused me the first time. Okay, this is gonna be done outside the stream, like just out of stream time. Bigger fish to fry right now. So we have a scene here, which is right there. So let's put an area node. Okay, so this is going to require some shape. That shape could very well be, what do you say? Collision shape. That's the name I'm looking for. Collision shape 3D. This needs a body or shape, so we'll do box shape. This is too tall. Could be left like that, I don't care, but this is a good shape. The dimension, I believe, is already 1 by 1. The graphic is larger, but that's okay. So what is going to happen here is that this is going to have a script, and let's put this script in the right place. Scenes node should not be here. So I'm keeping some of the scripts with the models too. This might all change, of course. Miscellaneous, we have a goal marker, put it here. Okay, let me see the default one. I have not seen the default one in Godot 4. It's this, okay, get rid of this. Let's keep that. So in area 3D, what we need to do is body entered. So which body is entered? I believe this, no, area entered. No, sorry, body entered. Body is entering this area. Which body will actually output into the output area here. It's body. It's gonna show here. So the player has its own area 3D. This is gonna collide with the final marker. Let's see. So west. Let me minimize this. So the movement is already marked here, and I was expecting to see okay, I remember creating this, but this is for rendering, not physics. Of course, last thing I should make sure is whether this scene is back to this, right? Yep. So when you're ready, okay, so you are ready. No reason for this. Well, apparently there is a reason we are trying to find. This is also box shape. 2 meters. Oh, that's right. My floor pieces are 2 by 2. There's a chance that this area is small enough that, but usually my guy comes over this. Height is kind of weird. Let's just set this to white 1. Yeah. This is large enough when the guy comes, because maybe the height of this was just below the player's area. There's no reason to fine tune it yet. Like, you come there, I was still expecting to see this. No, not that one, this one. Emitted when the received body enters this area. Body can be a physics body 3D or a grid map. Physics body 3D. Should be. Kind of is and it isn't. Because it's area 3D, which is a collision object 3D, but it's not a physics body 3D. I introduced this here so I could do the input, which is left over here. Where this one? There you go. I introduced that so I could do drag operation. I'm not using this anymore. So instead, I should be introducing either static body right now, which will do the job. We will have animations later. Maybe this one later. For now, static body is fine, so let's just remove this. Physics body for 3D physics, which is static or moves only by script. This will require a shape too. Copy this shape. Paste. This should be enough. Now this body will trigger the area effect. While we are doing that, can I override this? Apparently not. Why can't I? Maximized. Windowed. There you go. Same old problem. But here's the body. Um, yeah, this is tall enough. It'll merge. I don't get it. On area entered. Let's do this. Something is gonna enter this area. But when we do the area, kind of printing the area itself that is entered. That's the point in this case. That's it. So this is kind of a moot point because we are not interested in the area entered. Emitted when the received body enters this area. Body can be a physics body 3D. Is requires monitoring to be set to true. Jesus. Yeah. So it's monitoring. Am I? Let's see. I'm not even blocking the collisions here or masking them. This is the default case anyway. So this player's static body should be entering the area here. Which is this. Hopelessly run it again. This time I'm gonna go north, west, 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 south. I was expecting to see a static body call here, or the body to say it's a static body. So I see more people as far as numbers are concerned in the stream. We might be 3 people altogether. So streaming both on YouTube and Twitch, so you guys could relay your messages to each other, so feel free. So for example, if you are joining on YouTube, your message to me will be sent to Twitch viewers as well. Maybe do some kind of stream collaboration. Meanwhile, you guys figure out a solution to the particular problem I'm having, which is static body not triggering body entered on an area 3D node, which always works. And of course, Ludo 4 being in beta, I have no idea if these things are somewhat expected. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. This should work. I can even see the areas. Here is the player. This box here seems to be its collision shape, right? So when we move this character, I'm going to move it by snap. It's moving that way. And when it moves, this gray box here is gonna collide with the gray box over here. That's how it works. And looking at the size, they should just collide, you know. They have the same height. It's essentially the same dimensions. Layer. It's 2 by 1 by 2. The same thing. Even margin might be the same, yeah. It's not disabled. It's not disabled. Some monkey business going on here. I have no idea what's going on. Because the next step would have been, what body entered this area? Because there will be combat robots, enemy robots. So if they are entering this area, we want to exclude them. So only if the player body has entered will. Okay, you finished the level, that kind. You would turn on visible collision shapes in the debug. There's a debug here. That's called debug. I think what you mean here. They're already turned, I believe. You're considering this debug menu, or I don't. Oh, debug. Visible collision shapes will be visible in the running object. Visible collision shapes in the debug menu. I think I'm in the right place. And main menu next to project. Yep, I did. And maybe this should have really shown something extra. The fact that I don't see it may be the point why this is not working. Since I have no idea what I'm expecting to see when I turn this on, I think maybe there is really something wrong, which is highlighted by the fact that this is not selected. I'm gonna run the project again. Okay, maybe, yeah, this is the debug mode. Said. Move the character here. So yeah, they should be. I kind of visually confirmed that they would be overlapping size-wise or the volume-wise. This is also showing me. Still doesn't answer the reason why. Show the shapes when you run the game. Yep, it did. And of course, stream chat and the actual footage of the stream might be delayed. I'll try to keep that in mind. South, south, west, west, west. At this point, we should have something. Body enters not working. Body entered not reliably detecting rigid body 3D. July 18th. This is version 3. Is the projectile moving too fast? That thought occurred to me. That's when you adjust the margins here. But I mean, come on, this is a crazy moving fast kind of thing, right? I could give an explanation why that is a viable problem or solution, but I don't think it's applicable in this case. It is touching, yeah. Turns out having the area in a scene trying to detect objects in a different... What the? That is messed up. This shouldn't be true. In fact, it is not true in version 3. There's no mention whether this question was asked for version 4. Well, when I say it's not correct for version 3, I used a slightly different setup, but by inheritance they were working, you know. Yeah, this is messed up because you want to keep things in separate scenes so the physics engine could actually do the collision detection for. That's the whole point of separating things into scenes. Yeah, we don't even get any kind of body, any kind of print call. This will be a later problem. If an object is in the space of an area, right? This is when you also do margin stuff. So basically, this is kind of what I was trying to explain, whether we should be concerned about this. So when the GPU or the CPU, when things are calculated, right? So at this frame, the body is here, and it's gonna be checked against this area, whether this is a bullet or the player, there's a wall here, or like bullet is trying to enter some space, right? At this point, there is no contact. So this is when you assume there is going to be contact. So if things are somewhat delayed and the frame is skipped, and in the, say, 2 or 3 frames later, you calculate this object, it happens to be here. In reality, we would, like most humans would say, well, okay, this object actually penetrated this volume, right? It went through. That's our perception of things. But the machine may think that, oh, this body never collided with the area or the volume. It was here and it's here. There is no contact, because at the point of sort of observation, there was no collision. However, it should have collided, right? And sometimes it happens that the object is inside the volume and the collision detection is done against the vertices or the mesh, right? So there's nothing here, so it's sort of in empty space. So this is sometimes useful. How far off are you trying to check this? So in other words, 40 centimeters away from objects, you assume they are going to collide. That's what this means. Sorry, 4 centimeters, which is close enough. But in this case, it doesn't matter. This value matters when objects are moving too fast. They kind of quickly enter the space of another object and escape, and the detection is just not done. But here, where are we going? Other way, west. I mean, as you can see, this is like slow enough. And in fact, this happens. Yep, this is already here. So the area is already entered. So northwest, yeah, west. So the area knows it's entered. Like something has entered this area. Since this is not that useful, we are interested in knowing which body actually entered this. This is missing. So that makes me think the player is useless, whereas the static body goes. I'm gonna convert this to rigid body for no reason at all, other than just trying different options. West, west, west. And now it's okay, that worked. It actually puts the name of the node, even though it's a different node type. This worked. Character body 3D. Although the documentation says any kind of physics body 3D will do it, this worked. So this is probably one of those good of 4 things. It seems crucially is messed up. I'm finding a lot of things that are messed up about this. Anyway, so this is it. Now, so this is going to be the direct child of player. So we can always do get parent in here. Right, which body? This body. Okay, buddy. So let's remove you from signals. Oh, that's one. West, 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 player. So now we can also do something like group. Let's call this player. And then maybe later I'll have friendly. We will have some NPC characters that are friendly or enemy. So there will be multiple groups. So I wonder if we can do this check against if body is in group player, then do something like some goofy message. Let's cancel this. Gonna move to calls here. Also, let's pass here. The west, west. What did you say? I don't recognize you. His body is not there. His body get parent is in group or not. Which is something I was curious about. That's why I tried this. Turns true if this node is in specified group. There is no lookup. It doesn't look the group name in its parents. So you could still do get parents. which means for enemy scene trees, we should put character body 3D as a direct child of the root node. This will work. I like my players. So this is when we trigger the end of level text. Now we can say something like event bus. What is event bus gonna do? I'm going to comment this out to see the obvious errors. I think this is something I'm already using. This is also something using. Signal level finished. Okay. Level finished. Limit. I'm gonna have level information panel, which is this, to track that level finished and say on level finished, do something. Let's get funky. Maybe I'll follow the same logic here. There is going to be some refactoring later on. Similar idea. We are going to have outro text. Now we head to the level 001 resource, this, and this resource is currently using intro text, but there is no such thing as outro text. So let's create one. Outro text. Save. Double click the resource. So here we go. So we say I still don't know what I am doing. But I will find out eventually. Something as silly as that. So let's see if this is gonna work. Go. This text is now going to change. Of course it didn't. I like my players. Is event bus level finished emit, but when I'm emitting, I'm not emitting the resource. In other words, this fires. Gotcha. So I'll walk you through the architecture right now. Let me close some of this madness here. So game. There's a background music there's some humming going on, which is kind of quiet for you, I think. Because the desktop sound that I'm not streaming the desktop sound at full volume, so you guys are hearing the background music as quiet as possible, hopefully, without blending my voice. And inside the game scene we have the level. which is level 001. This is going to be probably levels in the future, and then level 001 will be the child of levels, node 3D. Anyway, this is the level. So this is where the whole camera and whatever goes on, right? So each level has a level resource as a field, and in this resource I'm keeping the text right now, the resource fields. So when this level starts, which is extending level script, we can actually look inside that level script. That's not it. That's the level resource itself. So this is levels level. Okay, there you go. Which is basically holding that level resource field. This is some extra field that I'm keeping here. Let's remove it. So this property is basically exposed to each level, right? So we'll have levels 001, 002, maybe hundreds of levels. So naturally, each one will have their own resource, which is a resource as far as Godot is concerned. So when this level starts, which is level 001, what we do here is I will have level resource myself, basically. There's something like this. I'm going to pass this to level info showed structure. So this signal fires. Basically, the HUD itself is a whole other construct. This HUD. Let's see. Cool. It cannot be rated by other streamers. Interesting. Do I have anything to do with that? I wonder. Let's see if we can actually remedy that. This is probably not what I'm looking for. I might have turned off some setting. Where do I find that? Reading. Stream. Allow raids from channels that meet the following requirements. I do have it. Channels with the above thresholds must also meet one of the following criteria. My teammates. Channels I follow. Maybe I'm not following you, that's why, or I'm not following them, that's why maybe they cannot. So I'll remove this, but then this is kind of like everybody can raid you right now, right? That this, like, I think there's a reason why they enable this stuff. That way strangers can raid you. Yeah, I remember, I think this was a problem for some people. Some crazy shit went went on, so let's see. Channels I follow. Okay, I don't think they are my teammates, but maybe if I follow them, they can do it. I hope I didn't mess up something here, but maybe now I'll go and then follow them. Back to Twitch. Affiliates, partners, let me see. Yeah. Teammates. You went offline. Sure, next time. Thanks for the effort, and then next time I'll get raided. As soon as I lose, yes. Well, on a positive note, the player is now colliding with the area. So, so the level information is passed on to the HUD itself. Here, this guy is basically saying when the level info is showed, I'm going to be passed some resource, and I'm going to use the text inside there to populate some text field here. So right now the problem is, or the missing link is, this guy is coming here empty. So this is something I found in Godot 4 that is silently failing, which is troublesome. I don't know if they're gonna put it in debugger here, but I doubt it. Maybe they will. They did. Okay. Yeah. So this is the problem. I'm trying to fit this. Okay, there you go. Maybe the tooltip. Yeah, it's coming to the stream. So basically, what this is saying is what I was explaining. The way I constructed the signals, or the function signature, is going to require the passing of resource. So the method expects 1 arguments. Here it says 1 arguments, but called with 0. In other words, this guy doesn't have level resource here. So in the case of level starting, it was kind of self-aware of, its own resource. It would pass it to the HUD. Here, the goal marker is not exactly aware of what's going on. Now, the goal marker is part of the level. It's goal marker here. That's a floor piece goal marker. Now, it would be kind of awkward to create a field here just so we store the levels level resource, basically. We pass it on to the signal system. However, at the end of the day, this kind of behavior also kind of going to the getting to a point where I may have to create some kind of level manager. So it knows which level is loaded, which is essentially what the game script should do. So which level is loaded, what is the source, what's the resource for that level. So when the goal marker is saying, hey, level is finished, emit that fact, it shouldn't bother finding out the resource for that level. As far as the game is concerned, we should know what level is. So even here, for level 001, when we say, hey, level info, just show it, it's emitted, this should not be here. So incremental, sometimes massive architecture changes here and there. For the time being, let's look at the agenda. We are kind of here. So what's the least amount of change I can make to make this work? I'm going to do something a little bit dumb to refactor later. Let's create a dictionary here for now. Var levels dictionary. Okay. 001. Let's assume there is just one thing, which is the resource itself. Reload. The resource itself will be 001. Copy path. Okay. Yep. And then here we'll do var current. This is going to be levels 001. Something like this. Now, this is not accessible. There are static methods in Godot, but are there static variables? I think there are now. Yeah, it's a static. Then maybe I'll do this static func current level as this. It is going to return in fact, I'm going to make this this is okay. You cannot access instance variable levels because if this is accessible, this has to be instanced. Cannot do this. I'm gonna have to do this game auto load. Something I kind of tend not to do if possible, because then everything is singleton. Scenes game. Add done. Right now, I think this is just gonna be fine. Hopefully, problem current level is just this. And now we, of course, we need to hold the string reference here. This will increment the number to. Let's do number 1. And then we'll do some padding. We're going to do some function here and say get current level resource. Level is going to be some integer. I'm going to return. We need to do padding. It's going to be a string method, which is not going to work like that. So you do str level. Now it's a string. You pad this with zeros, 3 digits. So we'll pass 1 here. This resolves to 001, and you fetch this from levels. This way, okay. Okay. And since this is global, we can always increment this, something like this. What else? Now, in level 001, you don't need to pass the level resource anymore. And in here, this is completely unnecessary. But to find this, game get current level resource intro text. Now this should ideally, just to be nice, this should return level resource. Okay. Get current level resource call too few arguments. Because it's when I say get current level, you also know which level. So this is the current level. Do not pass it. Okay. So this should go away. Go away. Okay. So because we are doing static typing, I just want to show how nicely it works. Or it doesn't. This is actually resolving to label resource. Sorry, level resource class, which is this. I was hoping I would have access to this. Confident it will work. Would have been nice to get the typing. Now I find in Godot 4 data, at least, a lot of auto completion doesn't work. Like the things that used to work, they don't work. For example, I'm trying to come up with an example. There's no partial search anymore. When you know a function name, there's like the beginning filler part, but you remember if a function name is like 3 words and there's underscore, and for you the most meaningful part is either the second word or the third word. So you're just typing the few letters of those last 2 words of a 3 word sort of like function call, right? It used to bring that up in the result set. It doesn't. You kind of have to know the beginning of the function name, which defeats the whole IntelliSense idea. This is if some things are kind of... So anyway, this should be fine. This is fine. Yeah, let's run the game again. So the fact that this is showing here is good news, because could have just had anything. Would have said anything. Quite literally. We don't want just anything, we want intro text. And now, when we move our character one more, this should be replaced. Oh, I think it kind of did. Oh, that actually fired too quickly. I'm not feeling that well. I have this urge to keep going. Oh, okay, as soon as this guy came here, okay, am I imagining? I'm not feeling that well. I have this urge to keep going. It did not change. Okay, as soon as it starts moving, it changes prematurely. Now, the problem is, from our perspective, it changes prematurely because we expect this guy to be in the space of this guy. And it doesn't seem to be the case, visually speaking, but it is, as far as Godot is concerned, because these blue boxes are already touching, which is a problem. So this is already acting as if this situation is happening, which means this. In player, this box, which is this collision shape, let me look at the transform for this push forward now. But this box is touching, goal markers box. And I think that is happening because, even though they should not be, because they are kind of like, they should be right next to each other. One cube is here, the other cube is just next to each other. Well, I don't know how I'm simulating it with my hands. But I think we usually just saw that it should not have happened. But that's happening because, I bet, it's because of this. This is what I was describing half an hour ago. When you are working with bullet physics, you are making your calculations. In this frame, the bullet may be just outside the object you want to hit. But in the next frame, if your calculation is, things are happening too fast, the bullet may already be inside the volume, the thing you want to detect the collision for. So then you say, well, 4 centimeters is close enough. Consider it as a hit, right? This is the margin. So now these two boxes are so close to each other, less than 4 centimeters, that this is considered as a collision. Now, one way to remedy this, that we say just 1 meter. This is an exaggerated example, but let me think of 1 meter. Is it calculating it from the center? It can't be, because that's the whole idea of margin. Even this won't be enough, but yeah, because which is, I'm going to make it worse, like say, even when it's 3 meters away, but now it might be inside the space anyway. It's a moot point. It might work. And actually, I'm kind of doing this in the opposite direction. Should be decreasing it. I was trying to work out something goofy. Nevertheless, this is still very close to a snap. Let's leave this alone. An easy fix for this is I'm going to change the collision shape to this, which is going to be more close to the graphic piece here. So now when the guy comes here, 1, 2, it's not going to trigger it because the area is far away and there's more distance than 4 centimeters. Now you'll see that as soon as this big blue box enters the little blue box's space, that's when this is gonna trigger. So that's good. Let's keep the collision shapes. That's useful. Let me turn off the night settings, because I think it's kind of too dark here. Okay, what else I can do? So the outro is done. Revelation and accomplishment of level objectives. This is done. It's not perfect, it's not beautiful looking, but it's done. So the user interface shenanigans is basically somewhat done. Just still a bit problematic because when I did this window resizing, the user interface still kept its size. I think that has something to do with stretch. because this should not, this did not move, right? But when the final, this is what I want to render later on when the game is exported. This is what I want to see when I'm working on it right now. When I do this, it's as if everything else except the UI elements did change. That's more like it. This is more consistent with what we used to see. Okay. Now, most likely sometime this week, I'm gonna work out movement constraints, meaning this guy should not be able to go this way or this way. This makes sense because there's an object here. Even though there is walkable area, it's not part of the path, so it should not walk. But being here, we could move west or east. So I should disable south and north buttons. In other words, wherever I am and wherever I can move to, this user interface should reflect possible actions. That's one way to solve it. Or the buttons are always enabled, but when you click it, there's some kind of like shaking animations, like no, you cannot move in this direction. I don't find that kind of thing useful because, well, why even give the illusion of like control to the player? They keep pushing a button kind of thing. Either way, that's a graph problem. So these markers on the floor, technically speaking, we should have the data structure where this node or this sort of like node in the graph should know to which other node it's connected. That's going to be useful for cases when from a few nodes away, if there's going to be range effects, if this node can affect this node, so that it's not just neighborhood, but you can build relationships between different nodes. So the immediate relationship between this node and these two are, well, these two are the neighbors of this node. But if there's an enemy robot here that is monitoring this tile, maybe there's some kind of like sniper, right? So this node is also in kind of, relationship with this node, this one, and this one. You don't just do that with neighbor kind of thing, because that kind of data structure is just very inconvenient. Yeah, because if you create some kind of like class or whether my neighbor is affected by its own neighbors, you chain them. You don't do that with that kind of thing. You do it with the graph data structure. Much more convenient. Not easy, but convenient. So that's that. To simulate the completion of level 1, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to disable this button, which is let's say it's continue, right? This button may change later. Its functionality right now will be once it's pressed, it's going to signal Basically, we already know level finished. We're basically asking the game to load the next level. Could actually do it as game load next level. Something like this. Because we already know the current level, right? Let's open the game's scene. This is when I'm bringing the Node 3D logic that I described hours ago. I think levels. This is gonna go inside here. So I can do something like this. Just unload this level, load a new one. It may look surprising because, well, why would you want to have multiple levels inside levels node here? By the way, this label is wrong anyway. It's going to be replaced later on with the level 001. But say from level 001, you want to move on to level 002. At some point, there will be 2 levels here loaded under this. But level 002 will not be visually revealed, because we could do something like, well, we are loading it from the file system, right? So once level 002 is loaded, we will fade out the first level. We'll do some kind of transition. Maybe there will be some load screen where we do we talk about some story elements, or we show past mission accomplishment, that kind of thing, right? So it's a kind of a transition phase there. Right now, let's assume that is the transition phase, and what we are trying to do is we want to load level 2. I'm going to shamelessly duplicate level 001. Let's save this as this. And let's change the name to this. And in this level, I'm going to move this box over here. And the player will be here. Something like that. This is level 002. Now here, what we are trying to do is we want to load the next level. Means there's actually resource loader, right? And do it with that. We want to build the name, which is this. This has to be padded. I'm going to put S here. And this is going to be that. Sort of this. This will all have to be refactored later. We are assuming there are infinite number of levels right now, so there's going to be level 2, edit, construct this path, load it. Once this is loaded, I think this is giving you a resource. In this case, it's a packed scene. Would lead to this, but is this, we could instantiate it. So Let me just output see what I'm getting. So when the level is finished, this is gonna happen. This is all fine. Should work as before. Okay, west, west. I like what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I will find out eventually. This is the outro text. At some point, this should have fired. Are we calling this? From... Yes, because we are getting I like my players. I'm not calling that. When level is finished, this is sent to the HUD. Is this one? That's what I thought. Okay, when the level is finished, we don't want to rush things. We want to do something like there is going to be a continue button here. Continue button will be shown, and when that is pressed, then we'll load the next level. So go, go, go. This button is enabled. Now when I click this, I'm loading the resource. It says object now, so I don't know whether it's loaded or not. Let's find out. Oh, I'm loading the resource itself, but not the level itself. The level is different. The level is ESCN. It is also not in resources, it's in levels. So that makes sense. Okay, that's a pack scene. Okay, so we could do conversion here. We could do what's this in C# pack scene? Whoop. So that's pack scene. We could do an instantiation and we'll put that inside the levels. So levels add child. Basically it's this. When you add this, you should also remove child. With child. Levels get child 0. So when we add the new scene, it's going to be basically 0, 1 child. And when we say get child 0, it's going to remove this one. This is very crude, but it will work. So this scene will be replaced with level 2 when we hit this button. Trying to call a function on a null value. Levels is a dictionary, which is this. Dollar levels is this. Trying to call a function on a null value. Makes me think it thinks this is null, like this is null. What's next level? Null, yeah. While this was being loaded, it triggered this. Of course, it's null. the moment when this was called, it was null. If we look at this like just a few milliseconds later, maybe it will be loaded. This is why you do await. Basically, once this is loaded, you do this. This is when you do signal start connect. I don't think this comes with connect. Could do await. There's also this really load. Same thing then. How do I do the new await? Expected signal. This does not have signal, but the loaded load. See the game, it's okay. Which is this? Which is the scene tree, right? The whole, like, yeah, the core class. So here. So I'll try to kind of get creative here. So right now you can do something like this: get tree, create tween, that kind of thing, create timer. Say when you do this, this is gonna time out. This says signal. So wait for this to time out. So wait 1 second, and this line will resume. Right? This is what this means. What I'm trying to do is similar to this. Just load something, but when that is finished, then it's the end of the day, getting tired. I'm gonna get some help here because I think it's also fair that I'm going to use my own resource. I believe I've written about this. In fact, in a book. In this book, chapter 13, I think. Scripts. When the door is reached, there you go. The door animation will play. Because key is collected, that's the case. Inside the animation player, we trigger load level. We say change the level. So we go to event bus. This is how we pass the level. Event bus is here. Change level. And the game script is going to be so he's signing up to this in my world. I wouldn't have put that. It's as if I need something more central. Oh, scenes, game, because yeah, so when the game is requested to change level, I instance it. So this is the only difference. There is no awaiting here. Just instantiate right now. Okay, let's remove this pack scene craziness. And because this is returning a different kind of type. But then in Godot 4, I think they relabeled instance to instantiate, right? Because this book is Godot 3. So we are loading something and instancing right away. This is the next level. Let's remove this too. Okay, go west, west, west. Enable this. Non-existent function instance base pack scene, which is consistent with what I was saying. In this methods, here we have instantiate. Here next level doesn't exist, same problem. We'll just change the order here too for absolutely no reason, but I have just want to see if this is slightly later than this one, whether it's loaded or not. Scenes level. Am I? What's my levels here? Levels slash level. This is correct. Level. Let me print this. Let me print this whole load argument here. Levels, level 002 exists. There you go. We have signal changed when the load is changed, but this is when you do preloading. Okay, what is bizarre is this. You can't trust the documentation anymore. Here we have the change method, right? Okay, since this resource is actually here, that's fine. I was thinking this would be part of here, the signals. Because there's something called like idle frame, at least in Godot 3. Idle frame. Either like when you do that await thing or yield, there was something I like called a signal idle that's removed. Timeout is still here. Or like the animation player, it finishes its cycle, right? Say finish, or like something like this. So for resource, limit it when the resource changes, usually when one of its properties is. If I want to create a preloader and I want to know how much of the content has been loaded, I would need to use signal to know how much of the content has been loaded. You would think that is under resource loader. Like say image load, right? This image would probably have yeah, it's sort of missing its signals here, which is weird because for this too, like what if you are loading resource, some kind of like stream, need buffer here, right? Like say audio stream. And then any one of so at some point we need access to how much data backed by the. This doesn't make any sense at all. So this resource changed. But for doing await, okay, forget about removing and adding things. Are we going to see this? We used to see it. I'm hoping that this is gonna fire. Something is gonna change here. West, quick. But this did not fire. Set up local to scene requested. Emitted when the resource changes, usually when one of its properties is modified. I'm not doing that. I'm doing I think what I'm interested in is the scene tree. This will have signals. This would be interested only after the fact. I don't want to remove when I know something is I'll wrap up soon because I feel like the question that I'm asking is so trivial. It's like when load is finished, basically. One of those basic questions, right? Get tree, change scene. I don't want to change the whole scene. I just want to load something, right? Something like this. How do you know when it's loaded? So you can do the swapping. Resource interactive loader. Jesus. Okay, so this is yeah, this is what I've been looking for. That probably comes with why was this not listed here? Resource interactive loader. Resource loader. Let's hope that exists in God of War 2. This will... It doesn't exist. That thing that I'm trying to find is... that sounds more like something that's going to bring loading information, which is like bringing its percentages, how much of the data has been. This is also 3.0. This is it. This doesn't exist in God of War, I believe. When we do latest, and yet it does. But see, this is what I mean. Sometimes this doesn't show here. Not declaring current scope. So how do you use it then? Load intro. I don't think this is... Which may document features not available or... Okay. Yeah. Was removed. Why? When you say check this out, Resource interactive loader. Here we go. What? But how do you load something dynamically? I don't want to. Doesn't make any sense at all. Load threaded request. Resource loader. Why? Man, it used to work beautifully. Now, are we doing it in threads? Game slowdowns. Why? Returns the resource loaded by this. So we first request something. If this is called before the loading thread is done. This is a path string. Type int empty. Use subthreads false. Maybe I don't want to. Okay, so maybe I just get it, which gives me the resource. Which brings me back to the same problem. Will this block the execution and continue with this or not? Is the question. I feel like this is gonna fire anyway, regardless of this finished or not. So let me enable this. West, west, west. Click. Same error. What is next level? Doesn't know. Because how could it? Okay, I think this is a good moment to conclude the stream. The question that I'm asking, which I don't find a healthy answer to, is it seems they removed the handy resource loader from God of War, and I don't know, the changes they are introducing, they seem weird sometimes. The whole thing about the rotation degrees, whether it's in radians or degrees, angles and something, now they are reverting. So there's a lot going on. So today's goal was to show the intro text when the level is started, and showing the outro text when the level is finished. So that's done. I got to the point where clicking this continue button would trigger the loading of the second level. That's where I'm stuck. So to that end, I'm assuming we are done with this too, because we are changing the intro text to outro text. So that's done too. So if I was able to get the resource loading done, which would load the second level, I could design different looking level 2 and 3, and we could play the first 3 levels, something like that. But otherwise, this seems to be working. Let's just start again. We have the player with its sort of body. This blue area is the contact zone. So once we make our way to this target, this text is gonna say, yeah, I reached my target and I'm good to go. So west, west, west. So I'll find out eventually in the next level. So that's it. So continue button will load the next level. That's going to happen sometime this week. But you guys will see my progress next week on Thursday, and I'll come up with more stream goals. This is the target schedule. So sometime next week, new mechanics will be introduced, and following week I'll create more content. So I just have to get rid of these startup issues. So that's it for today, and see you guys next week. Bye.